The Spiritual Master Teacher, Unifier. Message for year 2014. The World Doctrine. Change your consciousness, change the world. The earthly civilization is on the threshold of a new age, a golden age, a transition to a future that represents a paradigmatic shift, a change in thought structure and consciousness. This has never happened before in man's 26,000 years of history on this planet. What we so far have believed in and regarded as our reality is about to change and be replaced by a completely new view of life. Earth and man is about to undergo a major process of change and development. Our consciousness so far has been focused on survival, a mind-body consciousness, rather than on an exploration-based soul-mind consciousness. Until now, we have been aware of that related to our three-dimensional physical biological structure and existence. We have sought a meaning of life in literature, schools, in science, religions, and different belief systems outside ourselves. But the key to the riddle of life, to creation in its entirety, dwells within us and not outside of us. Our International Academy for Cultural Ecology, AIC, with a focus on the life sciences, Gnosticism, offers all seriously interested who want to change their lives for the better access to the golden key that unlocks all closed doors within us. These doors have to date held us captive in our mental, emotional, and biological dungeon. Christ put it this way: search for the truth within you, and the truth will set you free. How many of the world's 2.3 billion Catholics and about 1.6 billion Protestants and other Christian followers have understood this message? Now is the time to rethink and get to know ourselves, who we really are, and what role each and every one of us have been assigned in this cosmic drama. Now, when we have explored the lowest and most sluggish state of energy and matter, and have collected all the facts and experiences that the biological world can offer us, then it's time to move on in our cosmic development and explore the multi-universe with its myriads of lives. But this doesn't happen all by itself, as most believe, hope for, or imagine. The fact is that we must work with our development through diligent training, that is, right meditation, ethical, moral life, remove negative, erroneous thoughts from our subconscious data fields, which we to date have carried within us for generations. The World Doctrine, presented by the Spiritual Master Teacher, Unifier, is the only true knowledge of Gnosticism, life science that can explain life seen from a multidimensional and multistructural quantum perspective. The knowledge that we mediate through the AIC cannot be compared with any hitherto known science, knowing, philosophy, or with what is conveyed in various colleges, universities, mystery schools, orders, or organizations. This is a completely new knowledge and knowing which is designed and intended for the people of the new era. Everything else is of secondary nature. The content of our cultural ecological program is based on interdisciplinary research and parascience related to man and his relationship with the universe, hyperspace in its entirety. The human soul atom, soul, in cosmic terms, is addressed as he. On the other side, the mind-related housing, body, is referred to as she. Here we have the reason why we call a human being, regardless of gender, a he instead of a she. As the human soul atom, soul, consists of a neutral and a positive charge, it's always termed as he no matter the gender it's given on Earth. Only a limited part of the world doctrine has previously been published during the many thousands of years of human history, and then in so-called esoteric schools of Egypt, Greece, Persia, Mesopotamia, Tibet, India, etc. Now this knowledge is available in its entirety to all those who seek the truth among the lies and deceptions, and want to change their lives and achieve a higher, qualitative multidimensional consciousness. What is meant by a higher, qualitative multidimensional consciousness? A higher, qualitative multidimensional consciousness includes the implicit, folded, so-called spiritual, virtual, unmanifested part of creation, the first source intelligence and absolute consciousness. This first source is called Satpurush, the supreme deity, in Sanskrit and in Gnosticism, the Christ consciousness field. In Chinese philosophy, it's called Tao. Further, this higher qualitative multidimensional consciousness also includes the explicit unfolded, manifested part of creation, the mind world, the second source intelligence, and the universal consciousness. In Sanskrit, this second source intelligence is called Kalpurush, the creative power of the mind world, time, death, perishability. Within various religions, philosophies, Kalpurush is called creator of the mind world, matter, form. Kalpurush is called YHWH, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Brahma, Lucifer, Logos, Elohim, archangels, Kankachilla, grandfather, Viracocha, and others. A multidimensional consciousness includes all forms of life, both subjective and objective, that dwell within the manifested, mind-related seventh superuniverse. Once you have achieved a higher, qualitative multidimensional consciousness, you are both aware of your own identity as a soul being, a fragment, a drop of the original source, first source, central universe, but also of your affinity with other life forms, regardless if they belong to the mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, or the human kingdom. All life forms have their original code in the first source, central universe, central sun, the source of absolute consciousness. Galaxy suns and solar system suns are only projections, mirror images thereof. Therefore, the sun is the supreme deity within each solar system. It constitutes the source of creation. Without its energy and informational structure, there will be no life forms and no life at all. A spiritual revolution will sweep the earth during the first decades of the 21st century. Gnosticism, which is about knowledge, insight, consciousness about man's nature, and constitutes the foundation of all religious beliefs, will replace today's Christian faith, idolatry, sectarianism, etc. The earth, as well as its entire present civilization, from the year 2014, will gradually undergo purification and then a process of restructuring. This process of change will be the most profound and extensive that will have taken place to date in humanity's 26,000 years of history. The Earth has entered a photon belt around the local central sun, the star Alcyon. This happens every 26,000 years. The Earth will be in this photon belt for about 2,160 years, that is during the entire new era. During this period, the Earth and its kingdoms, including man, will undergo a major process of restructuring. This process, of restructuring that takes place on Earth in the coming decades means that natural disasters, including earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, droughts, etc., will escalate. The climate on Earth will be affected significantly. This has nothing to do with the greenhouse effect that so many are debating about. It has to do with the increased neutrino influx from the Sun, with the increasing vibration of Earth to do. Now that man's cosmic development has begun, it requires a different kind of knowledge, a different kind of consciousness compared to what we so far have been accustomed to. Humans are faced with two options. Either you follow the path of the soul or the mind as to date. Which one of these two options you choose will be crucial for your fate. The knowledge that we mediate through our International Academy, the AIC, cannot be acquired elsewhere, neither in New Age literature, through mediums, channeling, or at college, universities, or through communications with extraterrestrial intelligences. This knowledge is mediated directly from the original source, first source, central universe, by the spiritual master teacher, Unifier, whose seers since long have proclaimed shall come from the Nordic countries in the beginning of the New Age. This master teacher is the only one accessing the extensive knowledge regarding man and the creation as a whole. For the first time since the days of Atlantis, the human being is given the opportunity to consciously establish a connection with his original identity, his higher qualitative I, the soul, and get to know himself as a cosmic being. So far, man has been governed by the mind, the ego, the self's lower quality characteristics and consciousness. This consciousness is closer to the animal stage than the human stage and has contributed to suffering and disunion of various kinds on Earth. But before unification and fusion can take place between the soul consciousness and the mind consciousness, all obstacles must be removed within man. These obstacles are negative, erroneous thoughts, computer viruses that are stored in our brain's subconscious data fields and in our DNA structure for generations. This removal is done with specific cleaning and cleansing programs that have been developed within the AIC and named ATD Cleansing Program. Until now, we humans have mainly been absorbed in the three-dimensional material world and been exploring it in detail. Without this commitment, it had not been possible to understand the lowest and most sluggish state of energy and matter. Our involvement in this sluggish, three-dimensional material world has contributed to that most people experience this material world as their true reality, their true home. People find it difficult to understand that this world's existence only is a condensed, coarsened version, a reflection of an even greater reality. But reality, as such, is a relative conception. Reality is like a double-edged sword and has always double messages. One seemingly perceptible reality and one seemingly virtual, imperceptible reality, and besides also an imperceptible part of reality which man calls unreality. Now, when we start our process of evolution, our return path to the first source, central universe, the central sun's innermost core from where we all once descended, it will be in the company of our higher self, that is, the soul atom, soul. But this doesn't happen automatically, all by itself, as some of us think or hope for. We must, every one of us, want to merge with our higher quality part, our higher self, our soul atoms, soul's level of consciousness, in order to succeed with our evolutionary process, our development. Otherwise, we will stagnate in our cosmic development and will have to continue our development elsewhere in the universe, hyperspace, on a planet that from an evolutionary point of view corresponds to our inequality of consciousness and energy structure. We must learn to withdraw our attention from the body's lower qualitative energy and consciousness centers, energy vortices, which to date have governed and dominated our lives. This process of withdrawal is done by focusing on the epicenter in the forehead region, on the sixth energy vortex, center of consciousness, where the soul atom, soul and mind have their seat. Christ expressed it as follows: "The one having the sign on his forehead will be saved." He clarified that our consciousness must be focused in the epicenter, in the forehead region, where the soul atom, soul and mind have their center, so that we can free ourselves from the mind's, the ego's, lower qualitative characteristics. Its influence and merge with the soul consciousness, the higher qualitative part of our ego, self, and thus merge with the first source intelligence, the central sun, the central universe. During the New Age, Golden Age, the Earth will no longer be able to accommodate people whose consciousness is still closer to the animal stage than the human stage, seen from the point of view of consciousness. By the neutrino influence from the central sun, central universe, the Earth, as well as its natural kingdoms, will gradually higher their vibration to a quantum consciousness level. On the other hand, life of lower quality characteristics can no longer be maintained as has been possible so far. We all have the obligation to prioritize our development of cosmic consciousness above the pursuit of the material and transitory in life, which can be taken away from us at any time. We don't even own our own body, which we have as instrument, means of transport. Everything we regard as our possessions are just illusion, a notion that it's ours. When the time comes to leave this world that we see as our reality, we cannot bring to the parallel world, astral plane, anything else but knowledge, experience, consciousness that we carry within us. Everything else must be left for the vultures to fight for. So why is it so important to have a lot of unnecessary possessions, shackles that bind us and keep us trapped in the lower qualitative mind world, the dungeon of matter? Christ said, "What does it help to own the whole world, but having lost the soul?" Without the higher self, the influence of the soul, man is lost in the lower qualitative mind maze and will never be free of suffering, misery, and of problems of various kinds. From the year 2013 and onwards, there is a gradual increase of neutrinos, neutral energy, zero-point energy from the central sun to the Milky Way center, to our solar system's sun and to the Earth. This will contribute to an increase in frequency and vibration on our planet. In its initial stage, this increased vibration can be considered to be a process of purification, and in its secondary stage, it can be regarded as a process of recovery, that is, when everything returns to its natural cosmic state. Through the increased neutrino influx from the central sun, central universe, there will be an intensification of individually related, family related, societal and world problems of various kinds. All that man so far has hidden, camouflaged, swept under the carpet will come to the surface. Everything that so far has been kept secret will be revealed. Human health situation will gradually change for the worse through reduced immune defense, increased fear, anxiety, stress, and improper way of life. Epidemics of diseases will ravage the world and medical science will be powerless. Suicide statistics will soar. Psychiatry will collapse. Natural disasters will intensify. the underground bunkers and facilities that some have built for themselves will loosen up by the neutrino influx from the central sun, and people will be trapped in these facilities. Man cannot escape himself. Nuclear war and civil wars will hit some parts of the world. Violence between people, races, and nations will increase. Earth's population will be reduced. The credibility of the mass media has decreased markedly. Most newspapers, TV, radio are involved primarily in sensational journalism, the spreading of lies, disinformation, and in misleading people. They deliberately withhold the truth from the public. They are under the influence of the negative draconian powers. There is neither a political nor religious solution to man's present or future situation if not man voluntarily alter the consciousness. Man tries to the very end to cling to the past, the transitory in life, but all this will be in vain. It requires an individual will and commitment to be part of the new civilization, the fifth in order. Our current civilization is the fourth in order and has the motto, the ability to think. This is characterized by intellectual ability, emotional thinking, emotion-related consciousness. The new civilization, the fifth in order, has the motto, a new consciousness in a new time, and belongs to a high qualitative soul consciousness of intuitive insight, insight-based thinking, consciousness. Then, who will be included in this new civilization? Those who will be part of the new civilization are those who voluntarily choose to alter their consciousness and restructure their generic senses through increased knowledge, increased consciousness. Moreover, they adapt their new gained knowledge to the requirements and possibilities of the new age. These individuals see possibilities above limitations and problems. A new consciousness means that man must use more of his total brain capacity than hitherto in order to meet future challenges and be part of the new civilization. According to the neuroscience, man uses today about 17% of his brain computer's overall capacity consciously. 83% is still not used consciously. When we talk about the 17%, we mean people who have higher qualitative intellectual ability. The normal individual uses less than 10% of his brain computer's overall capacity consciously. The International Academy for Global Human Culture, AIC, with the focus on cultural ecology, has created a development model that elevates the human and the individual's present three-dimensional competence and consciousness level to a multidimensional quantum level of consciousness. This is demanded in order to meet the demands and challenges of tomorrow. Do you belong to those who want to live in a global human culture where we can all work together, regardless of race, national, cultural, religious, or philosophical affiliation? Are you prepared to take responsibility for your life and with the help of the spiritual master teacher, Unifier, change your life, your way of thinking and acting? Or do you belong to those who are sitting still, waiting for the world around to change all by itself, without your participation? The choice is in your hands. The spiritual master teacher, Unifier, encourages all decision makers, political leaders, religious leaders, teaching managers, people of science, and representatives of other humanitarian organizations, as well as individuals on Earth, as soon as possible to become members of the International Association for Global Human Culture, AIC, and work for its 8-point program, if they want to contribute to a better individual and societal development, not just in words, but in action. The AIC's 8-point program is a prerequisite of a new world order. one world commonwealth, one fraternal humanity, a flag of love, wisdom, one moral standard, one language of understanding, above all frontiers, above all prejudice, above all traditions,